Okay guys, we're looking at the Chapter 2 test review. We're going to do a few questions on each page, but these are the questions I'd like you to start with because these were the ones that were picked to be the most difficult. Okay, so the whole first section, you just have to plot those points and tell me, does it look like a linear function? Is it in a linear relationship? But then down here, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you have to actually plot the line, tell me what the slope is and the y-intercept. Now remember, when it's y equals a number and x equals a number, these are going to be vertical and horizontal lines, so be very, very clear. They do not have both x and y, so it's not going to be a line that you're going to see on questions 4 and 6. Let's start with number 4. Y equals negative 4/3 x plus 1. Well, if it's negative 4/3 x, that means the slope's either negative 4 over positive 3 or positive 4 over negative 3, because negative divided by positive is a negative, and I want that whole slope to be negative. So my slope is negative 4/3. My y-intercept is just positive 1. So I'm going to start on positive 1. And then either one of these slopes, you can go down 4 to the right 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1, 2, 3. Or you can go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 to the left 3. And if you notice, these are still equivalent slopes. So I'm getting that correct line right through all 3 points. Okay. Question 6. Negative 4x plus 2y equals 10. Well, if you notice, y is not by itself. Now, you can graph from this by finding the x and y intercepts, but if it's asking for slope and intercept, you might as well rewrite in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to rewrite the entire equation. And remember, slope-intercepts when you get y by itself. So I have to do the inverse operation to move the entire term, negative 4x to the other side, by adding it. So the x's simplify out, and I'm left with 2y equals positive 4x plus 10. Now, I still need to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide each term by that entire coefficient too. The 2's simplify out, I get y equals 2x plus 5. Some of you right off the bat are already going to say, well, I want my slope as a fraction, so I'm going to write 2 over 1. So now my slope is 2, and my y-intercept is 5. So let's plot it up here, 5. And if this is 2 over 1, I'm going to go up 2 over 1. But if you look, it's already almost off the graph. So you can apply the inverse. Remember, 2 over 1 as a slope is equivalent to negative 2 over negative 1, because a negative divided by a negative is still positive. So I can go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And now I have this line right here. Okay, next. Question 7, 8, and 9. Write the equation. Okay, so we're thinking y equals mx plus b. And we've talked about this many times in class. You need the slope and the b in order to write an equation. Okay, but 7 says passes through f of 3 equals negative 5 and f of negative 4 equals 2. Well, this is function notation. And we've only solved when we're given points. So let's rewrite it as coordinates. The input is x, the output is y. The input is x, the output is y. So we have 3 comma negative 5. And we have negative 4 comma 2. Now you can absolutely graph it in order to find the slope, or you can use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now we just plug the y values. Well, the y values are 2 and negative 5, so I'm going to go 2 minus a negative 5. And then the x values are negative 4 and 3, so negative 4 minus 3. Let's simplify that out. 2 minus a negative is the same as addition, so it's going to be positive 7. And then negative 4 subtract 3 even further gives me negative 7. And this simplifies to negative 1. So my slope is negative 1. But I still need that y-intercept, that b value. So I'm going to take one of the points. It does not matter which one. So let's use this one right here, this x comma y. So if my equation is y equals mx plus b, let's plug negative 5 in for y. The slope we found was negative 1. The x that's corresponding to negative 5 is 3. And let's solve for b. So negative 5 equals negative 3 plus b. I need to do the inverse operation of subtraction of 3 to move to the other side, so add 3. So I get negative 2 equals b. Now I have my y-intercept right down here. I have my slope right here, so let's write the equation. Negative 1x plus a negative, which is subtraction of 2. Okay, same thing for 8 and 9. 9, you just have to look at the graph, find the y-intercept, and count the rise over run. But let's look at a word problem. Same idea. Write the equation. So I need a slope and a y-intercept between toppings and costs. So here's my x. X is the toppings, and the cost depends on that x topping. Okay, well, I have an x value of 2 and a y value of 4.5. And I have an x value of 3 and a y value of 6. So let's use those with a slope formula. Y minus y, so 6 minus 4.5, because remember I want my cost in the numerator, or in the, the numerator. Then I'm going to take 3 minus 2, the x values. 6 minus 4.5 is 1.5, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So, if you want to think about it in terms of slope, it's $1.50 per one topping. And that makes sense, because when it went from 2 to 3, it added $1.50. Okay, well there's my slope, but I need my y-intercept. So I need to figure out when there's 0 toppings, how much is the cost. You have two options. You can count back by subtracting the slope twice, because 2 minus 1 is 1, and then 1 minus 1 is 0. Or you can do exactly what we did above. Y equals mx plus b. So let's use one of the coordinates. 6 equals our slope, which is 1.5. That's corresponding x value is 3 plus b, and let's solve. 6 equals 3 times 1.5 is 450 plus b. Subtract 450 from both sides, and we get b equals $1.50. Okay, so my original price is $1.50, and it's $1.50 per topping, so it's going to be y equals $1.50 x plus $1.50. Okay, we're going to do one question here. Because if you can do 12, then I think you can do 11 and 13. A pizza charges $4 for the original, so that's the standard, that's the givens, that's our B, and adds 75 cents per topping, so that's my slope. But there's a maximum of 10. Okay, so let's write the equation first. Well, the one that's changing is the 75 cents per topping, and then the starting price is $4. So here's my equation. If you want to write it as a fraction, you can. If we were to have to graph that, you could absolutely do it like this. But I'm going to keep it in terms of money, because that's what we're trying to talk about here. Well, what does x and y stand for? Well, it says maximum of 10 toppings. And if I look here, what I'm multiplying the 75 cents by is the toppings. So that's going to be my x value, so number of toppings. And then if I combine 75 cents plus $4, that's going to give me a cost. So that means my y value is going to be total cost. Or price, either one. But now it says list the domain and range. Okay, well domain's talking about the x values, so that's the toppings. And range is talking about the y values, so that's the cost. So we need to think, what are my minimum and maximum toppings? What are my minimum and maximum cost? Well, the toppings, can we have -1, -2? Don't think so, but we can have 0. You can absolutely have a plain pizza. Okay, what about the max toppings? That's where the directions come in. We can have 10 toppings. You can't have any more. If I want to write it in inequality form, I start with 0, less than or equal to, because we can have 0, less than or equal to 10, because we can have 10. But now the cost is tricky. So think about what cost correlates to 0 toppings, what cost correlates to 10 toppings. Well, 0 toppings, that's the y-intercept. You get $4. That's the lowest price. You can't pay lower than $4. Okay, but what do you pay when there's 10 toppings? So let's use our equation. Y equals 3/4 times 10 plus 4. Or if you want to use the decimal, you absolutely can. 75 cents times 10. So y equals 10 times 75 cents is $7.50 plus 4. If I combine like terms, I get $11.50. That's the price it's going to cost me for 10 toppings. That's the max I can pay, because I'm not getting 11 toppings. It is in my interval, so I put the bracket. Then I do, not 0, sorry. We're talking about cost here. So it's going to be the lowest is $4. We're talking about the y value. And the highest is $11.50. Okay, if you can do this problem, you can do both 11 and 13. Last page. Question 4. Identify the x and y intercepts. Also convert into slope-intercept form. Two different things. X and y intercept is when we're trying to find a coordinate, comma 0. The y-intercept is when we're trying to find 0, comma a coordinate. Okay, so let's split this up. The x-intercept is when we plug 0 in for y. Okay, so plug 0 in for y. Where the y-intercept is when we plug 0 in for x, as you can see in the coordinate. So let's plug 0 in for y. 2 times x plus 6 times 0 equals 12. Well, these cancel out. So I get 2x equals 12. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 6. That's my x-intercept. I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to plug 0 in for x. These cancel out. I get 6y equals 12. Divide both sides by 6, and I get y equals 2. Remember, these are points on this line. So you will still get the exact same line once we write the equation in slope-intercept form. So if you want to plot these 2 points, please do. 6, 0 on the x-axis, 0, 2 on the y-axis. Okay, last thing. 2x plus 6y equals 12. We're trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 2x, I apologize. The 2x's simplify out. I get 6y equals negative 2x plus 12. Divide everything by 6, so I get y equals negative 2 over 6x plus 2, because 12 divided by 6 is 2. But can we simplify this negative 2 over 6? Well, what goes into both 2 and 6? 2 does. So I can simplify that. 2 divided by 2 is going to be negative 1, and 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. So it's actually negative 1/3 x plus 2. That's my equation in slope-intercept. Let's see if it applies. Start at the y-intercept, which is 2, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3. We still get the same line. There you go. Okay, last question, guys, number 16. Y is greater than 4/3 x minus 2. We'll plot the points first, so start at negative 2. Then apply the slope up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We have our points. If you want to do another one, you can go down 4 to the left 3. Oh, that's too far. Okay, now we have to, is it dashed or solid? Well, it's not or equal to, so it's going to be dashed. And last but not least, we shade above or below. Well, it says greater than. So when you see greater than, you got to think above. So we're shading above. And now you are all set, guys. Good luck.